Hey there. Welcome to the Oklahoma On Stage podcast. The summer is over, we're moving into fall, and we've got a lot of things we want to look back on and a bunch of things we want to look forward to. So, thanks for joining us. We're going to get right to the show.
Oklahoma on stage, the stories come alive with drama, dance, and music. The arts always thrive. From center stage to backstage lore, Oklahoma on stage, there's always something more.
Welcome back to Oklahoma On Stage. Like I said, summer's over, we're winding down, and we've got a lot of things to review, some things to preview, and just some other things like that. So, I want to start off today. One, welcome you to the show. I'm glad all of you are here. It really means a lot to me that all of you guys have followed this, have supported this, and have really come behind. And it really means a lot to me. Um, the fact that this is a one man show and we've been striving to do all this, and I keep saying we, I don't know, it's just a collective thing, but I've been working to do this, to promote theater, to encourage theater, to support theater, and I want to continue to do that. And with your support, I know we can. Today's show, we don't have a guest. Okay. So I want to tell you why. One of the biggest reasons is I'm currently traveling. Right now, I was coming to you from my hotel room in Milan, Italy. So I decided to take some much needed time off to travel with my wife. She travels for work. And so I came with her, spent a week with her in Italy. And it's been a good time away. So uh, much needed, like I said. But again, today we're going to talk about some highlights from the summer, some plans that are coming up with the fall, and just a lot of things going on across the state and things that are going on with Oklahoma On Stage. So I'm glad you guys are here. Hey, let's get right into it. So looking back over this summer, we started out. Of course, we started the podcast back in March or end of March. 1st of April was really our first episode. Thanks to Joe Mann and Ardmore Little Theater for being a part of that, for being the kickoff show for Oklahoma On Stage. Then we decided as we went into summer, we had the idea. I talked to a couple of people and came up with this idea that hey, a lot of theaters take time off in the summer. They separate, they take a rest, things like that. Some other theaters, man, they beef it up during the summer. That's when their kids are available, and so they can do more shows with the kids. We've decided, or I decided, got to get away from that we for right now. I decided that we were going to just kind of up our efforts. We started out the podcast doing every other week. It's kind of how I had decided to launch the show. That's how we wanted to do it. But I thought in the summer, since we had the time, and I was learning that hey, I can do this. I can get this recorded, get this edited in a timely manner. Let's go ahead and see if I can roll this out every week. And we did this Summer Sizzler marathon where we kind of just added one episode every week, and I upped my efforts. I crunched time and did a lot of interviews, but it was a lot of fun. I heard we talked to directors, actors, theater champions who reminded us that Oklahoma stage is alive and our Oklahoma stages matter. And so that was kind of my whole thing to begin with is that I wanted to make sure that we spotlighted what was going on these Oklahoma stages. As I've said several times through people that I've talked to throughout this process, the idea, the going trend for a long time has been if you're not in Oklahoma City or you're not in Tulsa, someplace where there's traffic for theater, people don't know who you are. And sometimes, even in those big cities, if you're not really, really good or doing some really big project, you still don't know who you are. But what I was learning is that there was a lot of very talented people throughout the state of Oklahoma. And I wanted to make sure that their stories got told, that the spotlights got shown on those theaters that were doing some amazing theater, some amazing productions. And that's what we did. So the summer kicked around. Uh, we just went out on the road. We hit a lot of things, even while I was doing my own productions, while I was working my full time job. I still was hitting the road talking to these people, and it was a lot of fun. Just a couple of the people that made this summer what it was. In June, we kicked off the whole Summer Sizzler series with the incomparable Patrick Town, who was at the time representing Upstage Theater and his show, Sideshow, which we went and saw the show. It was amazing. Some phenomenal performances, some fantastic harmonies. Just an amazing thing that they're doing up there at Upstage Theater. And it's amazing that they just converted a warehouse and got amazing acoustics out of this warehouse, and they just did a phenomenal job. And Patrick was perfect guest for the show. I tell all of my guests all the time, one of the things we learn is that the people love stories. They love to hear stories. They love to hear about the theater. They love to hear about what's going on. So if any of the questions we ask sparks a story, just tell your story. Patrick had no problem with that. He took the ball, he ran with it. He's a great storyteller and did an amazing job. And so a shout out to Patrick Town. Then forward to July. At the end of July, we got to have a great interview with Miss Gabby Williams, uh, Miss Princess of Oklahoma, whatever the title is. She's had several different titles throughout, the pageant world of Miss Oklahoma, Miss Princess Oklahoma, whatever you want to call it. She was leaving, or she had just been in pageant before the interview. She was leaving after the pageant for another one, and has just been very, very busy, and has just recently won another title. So congratulations to Gabby. But it was another fun interview, learning how sometimes our worlds intersect with other areas, acting and pageantry, and we have acting and many other areas, artistry, painting, and things like that. So our worlds can often interact and cross over each other. And she did a great job in presenting that. And then finally, just a week or so ago, we wrapped up our summer series with an interview with Travis Guillory, who is the executive artistic director of the Theater Tulsa. He's currently working on Hairspray at the Tulsa Performing Arts Center. And so, just great things again that are happening in Theater Tulsa, one of the longest running theaters in Oklahoma, and currently now operating out of an old Dollar General and doing some great things in that space. And so it's amazing to go around the state and see just what some of our theaters are doing. The old adage, they do the best with what they've got. And so it's amazing that they're putting out really, really great performances with just a little bit to offer as far as budget, as far as space, as far as props, costuming, all that kind of other stuff. Sometimes we're limited on those things, but these theaters are putting out some amazing things. So that all kind of goes back to kind of what part of our mission, which is the community, creativity, and building a legacy. We are all about the community. We want to make sure that we embody the community of community theater, and we're trying to make sure that all these theaters that we talk to are the same, that they're doing the same thing, that we're making sure that the community is part of this. Because without the community, we wouldn't have our community theaters. It's one thing to perform, but if you're performing to empty seats, it's really not going anywhere. So we want to make sure that the community is part of that. Plus, we also want to make sure that we are fostering creativity across the state, no matter who it is. Everyone has a voice. Artists are artists are artists. It doesn't matter. We're not going to get into politics. We're not going to get into any of that stuff. You matter, and everybody has a place in community theater and their legacy. What are we building in the state of Oklahoma to pass on? That's all what it's all about. So, moving on to Oklahoma On Stage, and we want to talk about just some of the things that are going on around the state, uh, or I mean, going on with us. We have coming up. I announced that I'm doing a holiday behind the scenes series. We're going to start right around Thanksgiving, go all the way through the new year. We're going to interview some theaters that are doing some of the beloved classics and maybe even some new classics as you haven't heard of. And we're going to we're going to dive in behind the scenes, talk to the directors, talk to some of the actors, and just see what goes on in making the magic of these Christmas shows. We've already got few theaters signed up and agreed to, and it's a great list. And so be sure to tune in for that. Um, and I do want to add this too. If you're listening to this right now, I want to say, as soon as you get done listening to this, share this episode with somebody. I don't care who it is. If it's somebody that normally listens and they haven't listened in a while, share this. If they're part of the group and haven't listened to it yet, share this. If you've got mom or dad sitting at home, share this. If you've got kids that are interested in theater, share this. You just got friends that might be interested in theater, or you would like to get them interested in theater, share the podcast with them, especially this episode, because again, we're talking about what just took place in the summer. Now we're transitioning moving forward, and we're going to be talking about a few other things as well. Like I said, the holiday theme. We're also going into February of next year, which will be part of our 2026, our season 2. Which, can you believe that we're already going into season 2? We are going to be doing an 8 episode series on theater educators. So we're going to talk to some of the high school teachers, some of the college teachers, some of the academies around about what they're doing to further the education and to reach the next generation. I think that's very, very, very important for us to do that, to reach that next generation and see I want to see what they're doing. What's important to them, what's coming, what do they see in the next generation, and just, all of that. What's next? But I know there's a lot of great creativity that's going on in our high school theaters. A lot of great stuff going on in our colleges. I've seen some great performances as of late coming out of colleges. I'll highlight one. Our wife and I went in the spring, I believe it was, went up to Stillwater at Oklahoma State University, which has a great theater department as well as any others. And they put on a performance of Alice by Heart, which was just absolutely phenomenal, out of the park. A great set, great sound, just phenomenal. And so, like I said, our colleges are putting out some great stuff, and I encourage all of the listeners, get out. If you've got family, if you've got kids, whatever, that are in high school performances, or just friends, get out and support those high schoolers. That's where it all starts. Most of us that are listening, that's where we started. Some of us didn't. Some of us were later on. But get out and support the high schoolers, the colleges that are putting it out. Even if you don't know anyone in college, I encourage you to go and watch some college performances. You'll be amazed at what you might find. So that's then we're currently working in the process to kind of kick off this sponsorship drive. We're looking for sponsors of the podcast. We're looking for people that are willing to come alongside of us, align with our values, align with what we're doing, with what our vision is, and help support us. We're putting together some packages, and if you're interested, you can contact us. We would love for you to be a part of that. If you know somebody that has a business, or maybe even you have a business, and you might be interested in helping us to reach the next level, helping us to further what we're doing and to keep what we're doing going, because everything that we do, regardless as what level you think we're at, everything we do costs money. It takes a lot to get this going and keep this going. And so I just would really appreciate if you could share this with people that might be interested. I've already got a couple of people or a couple of businesses interested in being a sponsor. Now, the idea with that is people can come alongside. They can sponsor one episode. They could sponsor a whole month of episodes, or they can literally come alongside and just be a corporate sponsor of the podcast itself. We could talk about that individually with those people. We can set up a package that is tailored to them, but I'll have tiered levels that they can be a part of and all of that. So if you can pass that along, share that with those that you know, that would be great. Okay, so looking forward, as I said, that's kind of what's going on with Oklahoma on stage. Also, speaking of it, I almost forgot this. Or actually, I did forget this until just this moment. Going back to talk about the holiday thing, we're doing the holiday episodes, and then in the middle of December, what I'm doing is I've reached out to several so far, and I'm going to continue with the guests that we have coming up. We're going to bring back some, if not all, of the guests that we've had so far this year, from the first episode in April all the way through till middle of December. We're going to bring them back. We're going to all sit around in a little round table discussion type deal. We're going to meet at a location in Oklahoma City, and we're going to recap, look back on the year, see what we've learned, see what we've accomplished, talk about some things, and then we're going to talk with each one of them about what they see coming in 2026. So just kind of a recap of their year, our year with Oklahoma on stage, and then what's coming in 2026. That episode will air January 2nd. So it'll be the last episode of 2026, which will air last episode of 2025, which will air 2026. So be sure to tune in for that one as well. All right, so looking forward, what's going on in Oklahoma around the state? We got lots of stuff and some things, and I apologize to anybody out there in the theater world if I don't get everything in here. Again, I'm just highlighting some stuff that's coming up, and the first thing that I want to highlight are some auditions. We've got some auditions coming up across the state. I believe the Night of the Living Dead teen auditions just took place up at Gaslight Theater. Coming up this weekend, there's a dessert theater auditions going on in Duncan Little Theater, which a great shout out to Duncan Little Theater. They just opened a new facility. I thought that was great. Then on the 8th and 9th, Chickasha Little Theater, they have Fiddler on the Roof auditions. Gaslight has auditions for Annie coming up by appointment only on September 13th and 14th. Let's see, do I have any others here? I'm sure I do. Coming up on the 27th of this month, the Best Little Christmas Pageant Ever will be having auditions for Clark Youth Theater, or I had that a little backwards. Clark Youth Theater will be having auditions for the Best Christmas Pageant Ever on the 27th. And just on the 27th. And then Storyteller Theater in Oklahoma City will be having auditions for Little Women, a holiday experience. For the last couple of years, they kind of had the same cast. They decided to open the doors and just, spread the wealth, see who's wants to be a part of it and who can do the best job. So that's what we should do, right? And again, some of the actors that they had in Little Women, which I was actually a part of this past year, some of the actors, the younger ones, have grown out of those roles, and so those roles need to be recast so they can keep them as young performers, and so they're going to open those doors. So that's what's in September. Let me see if I've got any other auditions coming up down the road. Sorry, I'm looking at my calendar here. On October 20th, Broken Arrow Performing Arts Center is having auditions for It's a Wonderful Life, the live radio play. On the 26th of October, Duncan Little Theater is having auditions for A Christmas Carol. So that's just, like I said, that's just some of the things that I've got. I'm certain that there are others. I just may not have gotten the announcement in time to put it on the calendar or whatever, or just may have slipped through the cracks. I don't know, but that's what I've got on here for auditions. Now, coming up in September, there is theater all over the place. Like I said, a lot of theaters took the time off during the summer, and now we're back in September, and so everything's back in full swing. And so there are a lot of shows going on in September. Today, I'm making this recording is September 4th, Thursday, September 4th. So we've got a couple of shows that are opening. Want to give a big shout out. Actually, we only have one. Looks like we have one that's opening today. Big shout out to Chickasha Community Theater as they open tonight with The Elephant Man. We have a couple that are opening tomorrow. King Lear up in Gaslight Theater in Enid. Bloody Jack in Sapulpa Community Theater. And Brighton Beach Memoirs at Jewel Box. So we've got several that are opening up tomorrow. And so be sure and get out and watch those shows. Next week, we've got the opening of Anne of Green Gables at Duncan Little Theater. We also have Clark Youth Theater also has Mean Girls in the high school version. And Prince of Egypt. Yeah, Prince of Egypt will open up next Thursday as well. Prince of Egypt at Beautiful City Productions. In case you missed the newsletter, there's a little bit of a write-up in there about Beautiful City Productions and the production of the Prince of Egypt. So be sure and check that out. We've got Chicago coming up on the 18th down at Lawton Community Theater. We also have next Friday, the 12th, will be the opening of Intimate Apparel at Carpenter Square. Also, Hairspray will be opening up at the Tulsa Performing Arts Center with Theater Tulsa. Bright Star will be opening up at Southwest Playhouse out in Clinton. So lots of theater, like I said, all over the state of Oklahoma. Friday the 19th, Shawnee Little Theater will be opening Heathers, the musical. Congrats to Shawnee Little Theater. That's been a show that directors Eric and Miley were been trying to put on for a while, and they finally got it on the stage. And so we're looking forward to that. So you kind of hear just some of the things got coming up on the October 2nd Rocky Horror Picture Show, or the Rocky Horror Show at the Lyric Theater. I also know that The Boom is bringing out a performance of the Rocky Horror Show right off the top of my head, and I don't see it on my calendar, but I don't have those dates. But be sure to check that out. I'll try to get those dates and put them out there for you. Also coming up in October, believe it's the second or the third. It's that first weekend in October. Launches the Theater Crude Fringe Festival. This is an annual festival that they put on every year. They've been putting on for the last few years. Local writers, local directors, local actors put on new works, some short, some long, some musicals, some, adaptive works, whatever. They're just original performances. And I can tell you last year that I went, which I'd missed, previous, but I went last year to a couple of shows. I can tell you these things are top notch. I mean, again, we're talking about the talent across our state. Some of the stuff that they're putting out at the Crude Fringe Festival, just amazing. And I know several of the actors, some of the writers and directors that are involved this year, and I know what they're putting together is some good stuff. And so if you get an opportunity, the first 2 weekends in October, also that middle week, I believe it starts October 3rd. Like I said, maybe the second and third. While I'm talking about it, I'm just going to try to pull up that schedule, so maybe I can actually have that for you instead of just sitting here and just guessing about it. Okay, there it is. Yeah, Theater Crude Fringe Festival return to Oklahoma City October 2nd through the 11th. So get out and support them, and support your fellow local actors as they perform in these interesting little presentations. We'll put it that way. So that's what I've got going on. Now, here's something that I really want, and this is coming from the heart. I talked a little bit about sponsorship and supporting. And so I really, I'm constantly, coming up with ways to try to, and believe me, I just, let me say this first off. I'm not doing this for money. I don't do this podcast to try to get rich or to try to quit my job or anything like that. I do this, just as I've said from the get go, to encourage, support, and promote theater all across the state of Oklahoma. However, we do understand that doing this takes money. It's necessary. There's hosting fees, there's travel expenses, there's technological expenses, all of that stuff. We need to improve our gear. We need to improve all of our stuff, gas money, all that kind of other stuff to get around. So what I want to do is, again, we put out things. I do have a Patreon account. We also have a PayPal account that you can donate to. Uh, I know that the PayPal is on our website. You can find it there. Uh, Again, you can. And the big thing is our merch store. We have our merch store. It's on our website. You scroll down a little more than halfway, or well, right about halfway. I think it's just above the what people are saying. The testimonials. Which those are great, by the way. You need to read those to that you can see what other people are saying about the show. So go to our merch store. We've added new products. We've got new colors. We've got new items, things like that. We ask you just to support what we're doing. Buy something from the merch store, and it doesn't really matter what it is. I don't get much off of that. I think for every T-shirt that's sold, I get $1.50. For every sweatshirt, I might get $2. I think everything's staying right around the $1.50 range. And then I've got some stickers and coasters on there that I don't make a whole lot off of those either. But again, I'm not making money. Those are more for promotional, to get the word out. People can see the T-shirts, they can ask about it, all that kind of other stuff. Here's what I'm going to do. One of the things that we need to do in order to grow our numbers, but in order for me to grow sponsorship, in order for me to gain more financial opportunities for both the show and myself, I'm going to create a challenge for everybody. For everybody that's listening to this podcast, I'm going to issue a challenge to you. But as part of that challenge, there is a reward. Okay. We have a prize at the end. So we're going to, instead of a challenge, let's just actually throw it out there. We'll call it a contest. I'm initiating a contest right now for the month of September, the entire month of September. So let me pull that. I got my calendar right here. So we're going to start it today, which we're going to drop this episode on the 5th. Okay. So it'll be Friday the 5th is when we're starting the contest. So starting Friday 5th, and we're going to end it Tuesday, September 30th. Okay, so we're going to run it the entire month of September. Here's what's going to happen. Every time you invite someone to join the Oklahoma On Stage group, the private group, okay, if you invite someone and they go on to the group and say you invited them to the group, your name will get entered into the contest. Every time you invite someone and they say on the group, in the comments, in the posts or replies, whatever it's called, you can tell I'm real social media adept. But if they say they're on the website, I was invited by so and so, and they say your name will get entered into the contest. Once you're entered into the contest, here's what's going to happen. At the end of September, we're going to have a drawing. The winner, the drawing, we're going to draw 2 names. There's going to be actually 2 prizes. Okay, so the one prize is an Oklahoma On Stage swag package. Okay, one person will receive one of our new 3/4 sleeve raglan shirts, and you can choose your size and one of 3 colors. Okay, there's a black one, a blue one, and a red one. Okay, the shirt, you'll receive a 32-ounce stainless steel water bottle, again with the Oklahoma On Stage logo on it, and you'll receive 2 tickets to a community theater production of your choice. Okay, now remember, it has to be community theater. Okay, I'm not talking about the professional theaters or anything like that. Community theater of your choice, 2 tickets. That's the first prize. The second prize will be a free T-shirt from our store and the water bottle. Okay, so one will get the Raglan shirt and the water bottle and 2 tickets. The other will get a T-shirt and the water bottle. 2 prizes will be given out for this. The goal is just to grow our numbers. We need to grow our numbers. We need to grow the people listening to the podcast. We've got a lot of people. I've got over 130 members of the group, but I don't have all of those people listening to the podcast. I've got over 300 followers on the Oklahoma On Stage Facebook page, but not all of them are listening to the podcast. I see the data analytics. I can tell. And this past month, our numbers kind of went down. Now we were going back to school, things like that. But folks, I'm asking, a lot of these episodes are anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. You can listen to them in your drive time. You can listen to them, try to find yourself some downtime to unload from the day, download, or discharge, whatever you want to call it. Put on the Oklahoma On Stage podcast and just, listen to a theater for a little bit. But listen to this. It will help our numbers grow, which helps analytics, which again helps with sponsorship. So it helps us to grow. It helps to get these stories out. It helps to do all of these things, which ultimately helps to support Oklahoma theater. Okay, so that's our contest, and that's kind of how we're ending things. Again, thanks for being a part of this. It really means a lot. I hear from a lot of people off and on all the time, hey, we really appreciate what you're doing. There's not anything like this out there. Keep supporting it. Keep telling people stories, all that stuff. That means a lot to me because that's the whole reason I'm doing it. But I also hear that from people who haven't listened to the podcast. And I always encourage them, please go and listen to it. I know you're excited about what I'm doing, but go ahead and listen to it. You might even be a little bit more impressed with their stories than you are with my idea. So that's kind of the whole point. But again, thank you all for your support. Thank you for being a part of the journey. That means a lot. We want to hear back from you guys. This is the thing, and I put it out there every once in a while. We want to hear feedback from people, and we need to be engaging. We need to be talking to each other. We need to be talking in the group. Just talk about theater. It doesn't necessarily have to be just a promotion. It doesn't have to be telling us about auditions or telling us about what just happened or what's coming up or anything like that. Let this be a theater community, another theater community where you can just come in and talk. I'll periodically I'll throw out questions and ask you guys, your opinions or your thoughts or whatever. And I need you guys to respond to that. One, it keeps our group active. It keeps our Facebook page up there so that Facebook doesn't shut us down. But it also, like I said, it keeps us interactive. It keeps us interacting with each other across the state, what we normally wouldn't do any other time. Okay. We're looking for suggestions. Constantly, I want to know from you guys, do you like what you're hearing? Do you like our format? Do you like what we've got going? Or is there something you'd like to hear more of or less of? I'm new to this whole podcasting thing. And so I'm open to my listeners as to, what you guys want to hear. If you think I talk too much, you want to hear more of them, hey, let's talk about that. Whatever. Give me ideas, give me suggestions. If there's topics, we're going to be looking at moving into the future, probably doing interviews, like we said originally, interviews every other week. But in those in between weeks, we'd like to actually find a topic and just discuss the topic. If there's something we want to talk about, I share blogs every once in a while from Onstage, the Onstage blog, that has some great information, and we want to just talk about it. Let's take one of those topics and we'll just talk about it. Wow, what does it mean to you? What does it mean to Oklahoma? And so we're going to do that. And I don't know, maybe I'll have some guests on there that aren't necessarily we're interviewing their story or whatever, but we're just talking about the topic. Maybe I'll bring in a co-host for that week or something. So that's kind of just some of the things that we're doing. Guys, I just want to shout out to every person, every guest that's been a part of this so far this year. And I could go down the list of them: Patrick Town, Michael Kidharden, Jared Blount, Lars Justice, Melissa Cam, Ryan Corley, Renee Perry, Elise Eldridge, Gabby Williams, Janae Anafarosi, Shannon Billiou, Brenna Wickstrom, Todd and Karen from the Ponca Playhouse, who were a lot of fun, and Travis Guillory. Every one of them was very, very special. They were very welcoming. They were very open, and just it was a great time, all of them. And I want to thank each and every one of them, because without them, I couldn't be doing what I'm doing, staring at 20 some episodes so far, looking at winding down season 1, going into season 2. Without them, without you listening at home, in your car, in your office, whatever, I couldn't do this. So thank you very, very much. You just don't understand. So as we close out tonight, remember, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram. We're also putting these episodes on YouTube. There's no actual video there, but there is a kind of a waveform that goes along with our conversation in the background with a picture of the individual that I'm interviewing. Hopefully, maybe season 2, we may be looking at actually diving into some video. So we'll just see how that goes. But I can't do any of that without some more support from sponsors. Our website, again, oklahomaonstage.org. And if you're interested in being a sponsor, you can email us at oklahomaonstage@gmail.com. Oklahoma Onstage, all one word. And we'd be certainly glad to hear from you. If you have any stories or people that you would like to hear an interview from, please reach out to us. You can message me on Facebook through Oklahoma Onstage, or you can email me, oklahomaonstage@gmail.com. There's also a comment form, contact form on the website, so you can fill that out as well. Guys, again, I appreciate everything that you've done for us. I look forward to another 20 episodes and hopefully a lot more coming in the future. Until then, guys, continue to listen to the podcast, continue to share it with your friends and family. Most importantly, continue to support the arts.
Oklahoma on stage.